So I'm slightly familiar with the FIRE method, right? I did a Netflix doc called Get Smart with Money, and one of the gentlemen, the whole thing was about FIRE method, right? You kind of want to have 25x expenses. But to the audience, let's actually talk about what the FIRE method is, and then let's actually talk about how you and your husband were able to optimize. I would imagine you're working backwards some way. So let's kind of get into that because can never stop learning.
Right. So ultimately, the FIRE movement is based on the principles in which you save and invest aggressively during your working years in order to have enough that your investment accounts or passive income streams pays for your expenses and lifestyle. So you can retire and you have your portfolio fund your lifestyle. So you don't have to actively work. But some people, and a lot of people still choose to work once they hit their FIRE number, which is what you said, 25 times your annual expense. And once I figure that number out, and then obviously it's going to be based on how you want to spend, which I think is a barrier for a lot of people, because if you are very frugal, that number is a lot less that you need to save and invest. But if you are not as frugal, what I like to call the guac methods or levels in my book, meaning like guac level 5 is the most extravagant. You have a private jet, you want the best of everything.
That's aggressive.
Guac level 1 is you would never buy guacamole outside of like at a restaurant. You'd make that at home. And so there's like a spectrum of what your expenses are.
So guac 1 is I go to Chipotle, do you want guac? Yes. Well, you know it's extra. Actually, no.
Well, you wouldn't even go to Chipotle at guac level 1. You're super frugal.
Okay.
And then it ranges up to guac 2, guac 3, 4, and 5.
Like
Guac
that.
5, you basically have your own guacamole factory. You know? So with that, and so those are the concepts that I started to like apply and think through that I found relatable, which is what I started to share on my platform. But essentially, it was understanding how much we were going to need and how much we need to invest and save to get there, which involved now looking at our finances. So we had to get a budget together. Where were we spending? Where were the areas that we could cut back and cut out? Now, that was actually hard because it wasn't just me. You know, I had, a husband who has different goals, different things, guac levels he likes. And then at that time, we were starting a family. But I think it was ultimately figuring out what the ultimate goal was for our family. Like, what would make us happy in the short term? And for me, that wasn't going to be a long commute while like bearing and having the children. And so we came to an agreement that we would, in the meantime, do what we needed to invest. That was the priority, and save so we can have this nest egg and start off strong. And then we did make adjustments as we went along.